need to have it hanging in the background or something, just so the viewers can. No, you don't have to. Oh, trying to drape it? That's classy.
There you go. I'll give you a little love.
We appreciate it. That is awesome. So, Brian, we appreciate you coming on to Bogey Island podcast. You know, we're not your average podcast. We're a bunch of dudes just like having fun, love the game of golf, sports in general. We don't have a single piece of golf clothing except for Jesse and his live hat, but other than that, you know, it's we're just a couple dudes just trying to have fun, grow the game, and just experience the good times with the game as well.
And definitely trying to connect with people like yourself and other creators out there too who interact with us. So we definitely appreciate you taking the time to come on and talk to us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
How about that?
All right. So are you a Bruins fan too? Then, like,
we have a deal where, wherever I take my boy for hockey, if we go to a game, like he's allowed to get a jersey. You know, like he's a diehard Penguins fan, but it's just a thing. Allow him kind of commemorate where he goes and the events he gets to see. When I was a kid, it was saving the tickets. Now everything's digital, so you can't save the tickets. So I have to come up with a different way, and unfortunately, his way is a lot more expensive.
Yeah, definitely. That's way worth it though. A nice collection of jerseys hanging on the wall or something like that. It's pretty sick.
He's got lucky with a few that. Like Patrick Kane signed one for me. He has a Crosby signed one. Freddie Couples this year just sent him a game-worn Crosby jersey. So he's kind of lucky in that way. He has more football jerseys signed than he does hockey, but he's starting to get a few more here. I think he has a Roenick. He has a Mike Madonna. He has a Johnny Gaudreau. He has a few.
Jeremy Roenick?
What? Yeah. Roenick's a good buddy of mine. So that one's an easy one to get signed. So some of these we'll figure out a way to get him signed for him.
So is that how that works? Once you're in any professional anything, you're automatically friends with other professionals from other sports?
I was friends with Roenick I've been friends with him for like 10 years. I can't say that I've met many more after, last year per se. I've become friends with Justin Williams from when he played for the Carolina Hurricanes. But outside of that, I really haven't established any more friendships that I didn't normally have, other than the guys on tour. I've become super close with Couples and O'Meara and and VJ.
Can you tell us about Freddie Couples?
What do you want to know? He's like Freddie's he's the best. He is. Freddie was one of the first that openly welcomed me and was curious to hear about the story, and we've been friends ever since. We text here and there, once a couple times a month now that season's over, but he's taken a real liking to my son, which is super important to me. But Freddie is, Freddie's great. He's awesome. Nothing bad to say about him.
So for all our viewers that are watching that, they may never have heard of you, may never played golf or anything like that. Tell us about you. Tell us that story. Let the viewers know who you are.
I wasn't a golfer growing up. I played everything other than golf, to be perfectly honest. I went to college and played collegiate hockey. I didn't even play golf in college. I played hockey and baseball. And then after college, I didn't see a future in golf at all. I was working with juveniles that were locked up as a counselor for them in relation to when they could be released and go back home. And I was coaching high school hockey, and a kid that I was coaching, his stepdad's brother was an owner in a course. And, I had been playing a lot of programs with my best friend at the time, and beating a lot of the local pros in Pittsburgh. And he's like, "Oh, you ought to get into business." And I'm like, back then in Pittsburgh, you're talking early 90s. I mean, I don't think there was one minority golf professional in the entire section. So, that was I had never explored it, so I didn't know what that avenue would even look like. And I just got really lucky that, this kid's dad got me an interview, and I got the job. And, once you got into that inner circle, so to speak, then, you were able to, make your own way. And so I stayed in Pittsburgh for 2 more years, and I realized I didn't like folding shirts and making tea times and dealing with that. And that course I worked at, we were in a temporary clubhouse, so we had to do everything. We made the hot dogs, we made the hamburgers, we had to pour the drinks. So it wasn't like you were just on a lesson tee or teaching. I mean, you were doing food and beverage, you were doing cleaning bathrooms. I mean, it was a mess, dude. I was playing decent. I'm like, well, maybe you should just go play. And I said, maybe leaving is probably the best option. And so that's when I moved to Arizona. I got a job, but then I realized that I still didn't want to fold shirts. And I went to South America and played. And, oddly enough, the first tournament I ever played in, I walk up on the team and I was paired with Carlos Franco. And he had just played the British Open the year before. And now, I mean, Carlos and I are super good friends now. So it's crazy how it comes full circle to playing these guys and now, being out there with them on a continual basis. And then, obviously last year was a very tough year for me. I went through an injury, or the year before last, went through an injury and dealt with some stuff off the course, dealt with these youth parents in hockey who think their kid is the next Wayne Gretzky and they're about as good as a friggin' pylon. That, it was just time for a change. And, not knowing where I was going to be with my injury and dealing with this crap. And, it was just time I didn't know. And I sunk into a pretty bad depression where, I've told people, I was like checked out. I mean, there were days I'm like, all right, today's the day. I mean, I was like ready. Anybody knows me that I am all about my boy. I mean, everything in the world is my boy. And, I had to dig deep not to do it. I mean, I really did. I mean, I'm getting emotional about it, thinking about it, because that's it was just a really ugly and dark time. It was tough. I mean, there were days that I didn't want to be here, but then I'd come home, thankfully, and see a picture of him, or now I have to go pick him up from school and just know that, hey, there's no way you can do that. I didn't, and I really got to a point where I didn't want to play golf. I was done. I mean, I wasn't even going to go to Q school last year. And I went and, I remember having a conversation with a buddy of mine, Christian, Monday night of Q school and Sunday night of Q school. And, he said, "Are you going to play?" He says, how are you playing? I said, "I think I'm going to go home tomorrow." I said, "I don't even think I'm going to go ahead and do Q school." I said, "I have till," I think it was like 1:00 Vegas time, because that's where it was. It was just outside Vegas, to withdraw. And then I went and did my practice round. It was still shit. And I was like, you know what? If this is where it ends, this is where it ends. I mean, let's just go have fun with it. And if this is where it ends, this is where it ends. And I went out, and I think the first day, I shot like 2 over, and I was just like, oh my God, you just wasted $3,000. And I'm just, like, but you're here, so just have fun with it. And the next day I ended up shooting 2 under, and I got to even, like, after the first day, I was like in 25th place, and I think they were taking 17. And then I I think I shot 200 the second day, and I was like, oh, I'll move up. And then I moved up well inside the number. I think I was like 11th. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe you'll get through first and, get back to finals and, it'll be cool. And then I think the third day I shot like 4 under and went to like 6th or 7th. And I think the last day I shot 1 or 2 under and ended up finishing like 7th. And I was just like, oh, great. You got through first again, which was cool because ever since I turned 50, I had never not made it to finals. I was told the other day that they can't recall a person who's had to go to first every year and has been successful getting to final stage every year. And I've done that. So I'm like, it's pretty cool. I mean, that's something that I can hang my hat on. And, I had my brother come out and caddy. And, I just thought, our dad passed away some years ago. And I thought, I can't lie. I was like, God, it would have been really cool to get through with you. But if not, I couldn't think of a better partner to end my career with than my brother carrying my bag. And lo and behold, we played. That was the best golf I've ever played in my life. I mean, it was. I made in Q School finals last year. I made 4 bogeys, and one of them was a 3-foot bogey from just off the green from like 15 feet. So, I mean, I realistically look back at that, and I do. I look
surgery as well, right?
Huh?
That was after your shoulder surgery as well, correct?
Yeah, it was. But I look back at and I'm like, I seriously think of the bogeys I made, like none of them were like hitting it in the water or hitting it, so far offline. They were just off the green where I just didn't get it up and down. I mean, I think it could have been a first where I could have went through Q School finals and not made a bogey.
Yeah.
I mean, I hit that week. I mean, it's just like, I didn't even think about it. I came up, me and my brother worked out a plan and that I didn't walk off 1 yardage that week. I would get to the ball, I'd sit in the cart, and my brother would do it. My brother's a really good player, so I trusted him enough to be able to, to tell me what the number was. And he'd come up, and I didn't want the number. I wanted to know what I had to hit it. So if it was 150, but I only had to hit it 135, that's all I wanted him to know. And he would come up and he'd be like, okay, you got to hit it 175. And I'd be like, all right, I know what club it is. I grab it and go. It was just, I had previously struggled with over information. And this super simplified it where, I knew what I had to hit it, not what the yardage was, but what I had to hit it. And there's a big difference in respect to, okay, it's 150, but you got to hit, when you have too many numbers in your head, you're thinking, all right, 175, but I can hit it 160. It's just easier to know you have to hit this 175. And I think that was a key in our success was that I didn't think. I mean, I just reacted. And I'm a reactionary player. I was a reactionary player in hockey and every sport that I've ever played. And because most sports are reactionary, they're not, golf where you got to take your time. And I think the fact that all I had to do was react to him saying, you got to hit it 150. It was just a lot easier to deal with. And we played great. I mean, we really did. I mean, it was a surreal moment to be perfectly honest. And honestly, if that's the greatest thing I ever do as a senior playing, then I'm okay with it considering, where I've come from. I don't have any issues with the fact that if I never play again or if I never went out there, that it's been some kind of failure because I beg to argue that anybody in my position with my golf experience versus how those guys have the experience out there that somebody else could do it. And I'm not tooting my own horn, but I just think, one, it's the hardest tour to get on. And to be able to do it as a guy who never had status on the PGA Tour, never had status on Corn Ferry Tour, I had some status on Latin America Tour, but, big whoop. That's nothing crazy. So to be able to do it is still in my mind. It's a pretty big accomplishment. It's something that I'm super, super proud of, regardless of how my career ends.
Hell yeah, man! You are a very inspirational human being. Like, we all had a lot of respect for you. Russ is the one who I didn't know anything about you until Russ told our little golf group about you.
Yeah. So Russ is the reason we found out. So why don't you tell your story?
Yeah, so I had the same shoulder surgery in January of this
year. They're not. I had both done. I had the left and the right
10 years ago.
And they're just, the shoulder surgeries are the worst surgery you can have, in my opinion. They just can't wipe your ass. You can't drive.
Especially for a golfer, right?
And lefty. It's not something that's very. They're tough. They really are. And the recovery is long. The recovery is slow. You can't. They really don't want you doing anything. I was showing my doctor something like a week after, and he's like, "Yo, you need to slow down." And but I feels okay. I'm like, it is not ready for that. And I'm like, when? And it took longer. We thought April, when I had it done in January, we thought April I'd be able to play. He thought the 16-week mark would have been kind of right where we were like 13. He's like, okay, I felt good. I actually played the Senior Open in Arizona. It was the first time I touched a club. And I played it I think it was 14 weeks after surgery. And I thought we were going to be like, oh my God, we're going to recover fast. We're going to be able to go. And I played and finished 5th. And the 4 guys that beat me were Champions Tour guys. Yeah. They were all week off. They didn't get in that week. And they were all guys who played on a Champions Tour, and they beat me. And I easily could have won. I think I only lost by like 3. And I didn't play well the first day. I think I shot even par the first day. And I played like horrible but that was the first time I played. I had no feel. I think I just didn't play very well. And then the next 2 days I played good and I finished 5th. But it did create a little setback. And this setback was long enough that it really took like another 4 months to get back. It wasn't bad. I didn't re-tear it or I didn't do anything like that, but it was just enough setback where it was uncomfortable and I had to, go back to rehab and I think that's when the depression was sitting in and I was just like, I had this high that, oh my God, I'm coming back early. Look at this first event and I'm already beating these guys in. And then like, oh God, no, setback. And you're like, oh my God, what are you going to do if you don't play? And, you start questioning everything. And that's when the stuff with my son and his hockey started. It was right at April, May. And I'm just like, I got to deal with these clowns. Just like, anybody knows me. You guys are Boston guys. You know what it's like to be a city guy. And, I grew up, and I'm sure with your guys, I would assume, not place a label on you, but I would assume that all 3 of your dads were blue collar workers in Boston. My dad was a steel mill worker. So like, I don't take shit from anybody. I don't give a fuck. Sorry. I don't care who you are, but,
so you are a Pittsburgh Steeler. You are a Pittsburgh Steeler, right?
It's one of those things where I tell my wife all the time. My wife grew up different than me. Her dad was a partner in Price Waterhouse. Working in Manhattan. Not me. I'm a firm believer in everybody needs slapped in the mouth every once in a while to bring them back to reality. And
I tell everyone, Brian, my dad hit me just enough so that I'm not an asshole.
And some of these parents, I was telling, people when we were going through this is that, my dad told me one thing, before he passed, he says, I gave you 2 things in life. He says, I gave you life and I gave you a name. Your job was to protect both. And, when you have people that are so distant from reality and then want to attack your character. It's just like, hold on here. You don't know me from Adam, but I'll tell you, I will knock your teeth straight down your throat, and I have no issue with it. That weighs on you, and that's tough. And then you're trying to set the right example for a 10-year-old. Is that the right example? So you struggle, and your mind plays some serious games on you sometimes, man. It just wears on you. And it got the best of me for a long time until my brother-in-law noticed and says, "All right, what's wrong?" And I told him, and he was the first person I told. I like to deal with things myself internally, and when he noticed, I knew I really had a problem, and then I finally told my wife, and then I had to sit down and I hired a counselor and started going to therapy, and that helps.
I'm really happy about it. When I started looking you after Russ introduced this to you in January. Obviously one of your big headlines is your mental health advocacy, and that's a huge issue in my life where I've had a lot of issues. Coming out of the military after a long time, there's a lot of obviously that's pretty rampant throughout the military community, and it's not something that people are willing to talk about, except for everyone that's experienced it. And I've loved kind of following you. To me, you're like the PGA's America's sweetheart, because you kind of have this blue collar attitude where you just go out and get the job done, and you just have the work drive that a lot of these younger guys don't have. And you're just so open about your mental health advocacy, and thank you so much. To me, that's very, very inspirational, and like I draw personally to that, and that's really kind of connected me to you, before we met. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate how just open you are to talk about, because not a lot of people want to talk about just.
No, I agree.
In general,
I agree.
Right?
I appreciate saying something about that, and I think it's a big stigma for men. When I went through, I had a lot of guys reach out social media wise and thank me and say, you just hearing your story encouraged me to get help. Even my very best friend, when I told him, he says, I struggle with it. And I said, I know you do. I've known that you've struggled with it for years. And I could see it in you, but it just, I wanted you to be able to come to terms with it. This is long before I knew I was struggling with it. But, a really cool story is I was playing in Atlanta in a pro-am, and I was playing with, a guy, and to this day, we're still friends. He was we talked about the mental health, and he said he struggles with it. And I asked him, I was like, what are you doing to get better? And, he's like, oh, I'm just trying to deal with it. I'm like, no, I said, does your wife know? And he's like, no. I'm like, well, you got to tell her. And I said, and you got to get into therapy. I said, you can't do it yourself. I tried, and I was ready to friggin' put a bullet in my head. I said, do not try to do this yourself. You cannot do this yourself. And it's okay to ask for help. I did some stuff up in Calgary this year with their University of Calgary and their mental health stuff. And I think we're going to do some stuff this year. I think it's important. Same respect. I think the Champions Tour dropped the ball with the opportunity to create a bigger platform for mental health. I was really disappointed when they knew my story, and I had asked them to say, it was happy to say, listen, if you want to do this on a semi-weekly basis where we have a roundtable at an event, I'm happy to get up there and talk to people about this. And they never did anything with it. And it was super disappointing, because I can assure you, if that was Colin Montgomery or Ernie Els, and it's nothing against either one of them because I love both of them. But if it was somebody like that, they would jump all over it. And to me, I don't think it resonates more with that kind of person, because that person's known, they've been out there. But I just felt like they had an opportunity to do something and they didn't. And that's to me, that's like probably my biggest regret from last year, is that they didn't take advantage of being able to help other people. with their platform. And, you know, I have no issue talking about the tour and the things I like and dislike. And it's a good old boys club. And if you're not one of the good old boys club, they don't give two shits about you. And that's a fact. And I don't have an issue saying it. You know, but, you know, that's just the way it is. You know, if you're not one of their boys, then tough shit, you know, and that's just, you know, it's unfortunate. But, you know, not every player out there, I think, feels that way in respect to veterans. Like, I don't think Couples feels that way. I don't think Ernie, you know, guys that I'm close with, that I obviously wouldn't be close to them if I felt that they were, at least in my opinion, I wouldn't buddy up to them if I didn't feel like they were good people. I'm not saying that I'm the perfect judge of character, but, you know, but I don't think I would be friends with Fred if Fred didn't care about other people. I mean, he took a liking to me right away, and that's how we developed our friendship. So obviously something was there that, you know, made that happen and possible. And I don't think that he would be a guy that would be, you know, something like that. He wouldn't take a liking to my son and send my son a jersey that my son could probably go sell for $5,000 if he didn't, you know, care. But the tour doesn't care. And the tour has a mental health thing on our tour links page, but that's just smoke and mirrors, in my opinion. And I hope one of them's watching this. I mean, because I don't care, because I think they're failing, you know, men who follow golf. I've had multiple people in pro-ams talk about how they struggle with mental health. And when you have a platform like the tour has, I mean, to do something and they don't, it's just like you're looking at them and you're like, what's your problem? I mean, seriously, I mean, you need to help people. It's just not all about you're giving money to charity. Well, go another step, help these people. And they don't care. I mean, if it's not really for them, it's not for them. And tough. See, they don't like guys like me, because I speak my mind. I'll tell you the good and bad about the tour, and I don't care what the repercussions are, because it's life. And I think, you know, that's half the problem with the tour now, is they're so secretive that they're dealing with this live stuff, you know, how secretive all that went down, and the ramifications of how that's backlashing is coming back to you because they keep everything so secretive. You know, it's the same thing here. It's like this whole mental health thing. Yeah, you have it. I could show, if I was on the computer and not my phone, I'd show you where you could pull up Tour Links page at the very top is mental health awareness. And I'm like, you ain't doing shit with it. Why is that even on there? Take it down. I mean, you're a fraud.
Avenues for the golfer to go through to get help or anything like that. So they just talk. They don't have like any like avenues for a golfer to go through to seek help.
I'm sure if you asked, they would do it. But, you know, like my complaint is it should be something that mental health is so enormous right now with athletes. It is on a level that I don't think anybody ever imagined somebody struggling with mental health and having to deal with it. I don't think anybody ever thought it would be this enormous. I mean, you have athletes leaving teams to take breaks who are stars. You have, I mean, it is a nonstop and ever evolving situation where it's a problem. It's an epidemic. I mean, it leads from mental health. Then where do you go to get help? Maybe they find help in a bottle. Maybe they find help with pills. I mean, then it just evolves. And when you're not being proactive in it, in my opinion, then you're not helping. And why have it that you have the avenue when you're not doing anything with it? Okay, I don't get why you on our page and you're not doing shit with it. You don't have seminars. You do not have roundtables with it at events when you should. Why don't you? I mean, it's not difficult to get a player or to get somebody in that area that's a doctor to come talk. If guys want to show up, great. If they don't, they don't. But you don't have a problem doing it with fellowship. And I have nothing against, the guys who do the Bible study and all that. The tour will help you do that. Why won't you help somebody save their life?
Yeah, right. Well, it's just been a taboo subject. It's still a taboo subject to talk about in public, which is I think
mean, I don't have,
90% of the population experiences depression throughout their life.
Especially.
I think the people who don't talk about it, and it's not a bad thing, and I don't think I'm going to word this right. I mean, they're the ones that you almost have to be more concerned about, because there's only so much you can take in before you just explode,
Right.
and or you just give up. I mean, how many times like that? Who was that guy? There was that. What was his name? Twitch. He was like a dancer or a rapper or something.
Yeah. Twitch. Twitch.
He was with his family the day before. The next day, he's like, "Done. I'm done."
Yeah.
I mean, just like you have a guy that has everything, nice house, all the money in the world, but then next day he's just like, "Done. I'm good. I'm going to the hotel and I'm checking out." It's like you just never know where or who is struggling, and I think even on top of just this, I think that's a huge issue in the country, and I think that's a huge issue why the country is so dysfunctional now, is people just don't realize what other people are going through.
Yeah.
You just, and then you badge somebody or you're upset. I mean, you can have an opinion. I get it, and I have no issue with people having strong opinions about politics or finances or anything like that. But when it comes down to it, just understand you have no idea what the other person is going through. You just don't. Like right now, I got to leave Monday. I got to go visit my mom because she's going through kidney failure. And I mean, I know that's at the end. I mean, that's a for her, because she doesn't want to do dialysis. For lack of a better word, it's a death sentence, and it's just a matter of time. And if somebody sees me and may see me in a bad mood, they're like, you don't know what I'm dealing with. So I mean, people just need to learn to be kind to other people and just understand that you just saying hi to somebody or helping someone, holding the door for somebody or doing something may change how that person feels the rest of the day. Don't get me wrong. There's also idiots smacked in the back of the head when they drive like an idiot, or they cut in front of you in line, or they do something like that. But for the most part, I mean, people just need to be better people. Just be a better human, man. I mean, it's not that difficult. It really isn't. I mean, and that could go a long way to saving somebody's life that struggles with mental health.
You always hear it's as simple as sending a text or sending a call. And, I've heard that forever. And a guy that I worked with in the military called one of our old guys on the Marine Corps birthday a couple of years ago. And the kid goes, "Holy shit, Corporal, you just saved I literally have a gun in my mouth." And he called a bunch of us to tell us, he was like, "Holy shit, call all your guys. Don't call the close ones, call everybody." It really is as advertised. It could be as simple as a call or a text, just to reach out to let someone else you care. Or like you said, just saying hi to somebody, walking by. Something so simple like that.
It should just be understanding that you never know what that person in front of you in the line, person behind you in line, person walking down the street is going through. You just never know. I mean, and that's what sucks. I mean, like that guy I just talked about, you never know. Like, great family, beautiful wife, beautiful kids, big house, a lot of money, and that wasn't enough. So what was the problem there? Why was that not enough? And because you just don't know what they're going through. You don't.
Sure. Very well said. So you brought it up first, right? So you brought up the PGA, you brought up a little bit of live things as well. So what are your thoughts on the whole live PGA?
My issue with live would be, and I don't know enough about it, but from what I know, I didn't like how it happened.
Yeah, no way.
Not a single soul did.
I think this can go back to, again, the whole secrecy shit. I just don't like how it came out. It seemed really shady. and I don't like it. I don't understand how, if you are now to join, how you compensate players who would have gotten a ton of money. Now they're not. So how do you compensate? Say they join. How do you compensate a Rory McIlroy, who's definitely worth more than anybody that's playing there, in my opinion? I mean, he's worth more than Rahm.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
In my opinion. I mean, in my opinion. So
Jared McIlroy won PIP last year. Well, this year. Tiger Woods came in like second place, I think.
Oh, okay.
So he's the name. He's the number one. Like, yeah.
how do you compensate him if they now joined and he missed out on probably 600 or 700 million? How do you compensate a Scheffler or a Spieth or any of those guys now that you've done this? You've opened up a door where you've given 250 million to Dustin Johnson. Well, I'm sorry, I think Rory's worth 3 times Dustin's value. There's like I don't discount Dustin Johnson as a player. I mean, I think he's a phenomenal player, but marketability wise, I don't see much with him. He's so dry and unapproachable.
Yeah. No, yeah, for real.
He's a bro. He doesn't give a shit.
Or of a guy who can be in front of a camera. He's definitely more articulate, in my opinion. And then you see the side where you look at a guy like Pat Perez, whose scoring average was, I don't know, 78, and he made $12. No.
I think he made more playing in live events than he did signing too, as well.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Come on, dude. Seriously, 78 and you made 12 million. You would have made a cut on the PGA Tour, and it's nothing against Pat. It's nothing against Pat. I know Pat. I mean, in his day, Pat was a great player, but I mean, no. You cannot give somebody.
How about your fellow Arizona neighbor Rahm? How do you feel about him going over to live?
Again, now to get on the other side of it, you have to be an idiot to turn down the money.
Boom! Thank you.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
It is multi-generational money. You have got to be an absolute clown. Say no.
Thank you.
So if they came to you and said, "We're going to give you 100 million," if you say no, you're a fool. Are you playing golf to win? Or are you playing golf to make money, or are you playing golf to secure your family's future? Me, I could care less how many trophies I win. I want to make sure that my son never has to worry about anything.
I want to make sure he has every jersey from every sport,
But still, it's one of those things where it's just like, okay, I mean, I don't, that would be like Ohtani turned down that 700 million.
The terms of the deal,
the deal are crazy.
I can't.
I mean, you can't turn down generational money. And people bitch and moan, oh, the Saudis, all the human rights issues. Newsflash: every country's been doing business with the Saudis for decades. You didn't have a fucking problem then, so why are you having a problem now? Because money, that have a problem. Okay. Honestly, I think the PGA Tour is becoming a failed entity. They do not manage. Their leadership is in my opinion, is poor. I think Jay really bundled this live thing. I think you could have come up with a very amicable solution, and not drop the ball. And I feel like you dropped the ball with this. I mean, I think there was a way that you could have done this where you could have brought that Saudi money in. Guys could have stayed. They could have said, okay, we're going to go play the 54-hole event with shorts this week. Next week, we're going to play we're going to play the PGA Tour event. They could have influxed that money into the PGA Tour, which then could have actually given money to the Korn Ferry Tour, where guys could actually make a living. Yeah. Or they could have done these developmental tours in PGA Tour China, PGA Tour Latin America, PGA Tour Canada, where these kids are playing mini tours and they can actually make $1. Making a cut in a professional event, you lose money, is a crime. Yeah. You are robbing you're taking money from kids, and it's unbelievable. So I don't know. I mean, I just think it was one of those things where the right pocket didn't get filled, and they were like, "No, we're not gonna do anything." And to me, it was pretty simple. You could have just the Saudi investment fund could have just said, "Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to give $1 billion to the PGA Tour. These guys can choose and play what events they want. We can use this money to make certain events on Live, the big events like they are doing on the PGA Tour. Guys could take a break and go play a different format, for a week, and then come back and play a regular event on the tour. And they could have done that, and they just totally dropped the ball. And now, I don't know how they fix it now. I really don't. I don't know. I don't know if it's fixable.
Now that it's kind of all under the same umbrella,
Not yet.
Not yet.
And
That's why I don't know if they can fix it at this point. I think it's so far out of whack now, especially with Rahm getting $500 and $600 million. I mean, I don't know how you fix this. I mean, I really don't. I don't know how you come back from that again. And I think a lot of it comes back to how are you compensating guys who stayed?
yeah, right.
If you can compensate a Spieth or a Scheffler or a McIlroy or anybody else in the top 10 right now, if you cannot adequately compensate them, how can you join? Because I'm sorry, there's guys who have made 50, 60, 70 million with joining and Live that would have never made 50 or 60 million in their career.
Right.
So how are you going to justify that guy per se having, more money than, okay, here, Dustin Johnson is a good example. I mean, he made 225, I think. I don't know. He didn't need the money, but yes, now it makes it so that he doesn't have to play golf as much. I get it. Totally. Why would you not do it? Of course, smart move. But what about the guy who is equal to Justin, like a Scheffler, who didn't at that point have 225 million to his name, that could have got 220 probably. How do you compensate him?
No, you can't. I mean, they have to. That's the only thing that I feel like is going to.
But now you're talking about billions of dollars having to be thrown into this. Yeah. When you look at players, you would have to potentially. Rory's going to break the bank if he goes. That's 700 million easy. He's worth, in my opinion, way more than Rahm.
Oh yeah,
he moved the needle more than Rahm, in my opinion. Nobody moved the needle. The needle mover is Tiger.
Yeah, of course.
That's it. No matter how Tiger could have one leg and one arm, and he's still moving the needle. Rory, in my opinion, is second. Guys don't like him because he's outspoken, but I think Rory McIlroy moves the needle as close to Tiger as anybody.
Right. I agree. Especially,
I didn't like Rory when he first came out. I don't know. I think just like every American, you felt like he was good enough to threaten Tiger. And that's how I looked at it. Like when Rory showed up, I felt like he was probably one of the only guys that could beat Tiger, and I didn't like it. Okay. So, but I've grown to like and respect Rory. He has a voice. I like that he's not afraid to use his voice, whether he's right or wrong. Everybody has to have an opinion. Everybody has to be able to stand up for what they believe in, and I respect that about him.
No, he's a generational player for sure too. He was young.
McIlroy is the PGA Tour now.
Right.
He was the PGA before Rahm left. He is the face of the tour. I don't care if he's not number one in the world or not. He's the face of the tour. I mean, if somebody says I want to go see Scheffler or I want to go see McIlroy, okay, I'm telling you they're going to see McIlroy.
Right.
Nothing against Scotty Scheffler. I think he's an absolute stud, but he's not.
Is he in the next group? All right, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Definitely not Roy McIlroy.
Right. Go see him. And plus, I mean, I will say too, we went to the Live Boston event, and Live puts on a show compared to a PGA event. I mean, we had Navy SEALs skydiving into the first hole to open the show, and I mean, this is what unlimited money on the golf tour looks like.
It was an incredible experience, but it was a unique.
I think it's good and it's entertaining. And I think golf has to have an entertaining side. And that's why I think that they could have done something that could have allowed both to coexist and still be able to be like, all right, so this week during maybe even during a down event like John Deere, where it's like, okay, we're having John Deere for the tour guys who can't get into the big money fields. And then we're having the live event in Boston for the guys who are all the marquee guys who are coming over. And then, so now you have a party event, and then you have your downcast John Deere event, but it's still a PGA Tour event. You could have been able
John Deere Classic. That's Jesse's favorite tournament, the John Deere Classic. So you just ruined
But I'm
his.
just saying, you have.
Okay.
I mean, the thing is, you have 10 or 12 events on the tour where, let's be honest, they really don't care about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We know.
So why not during those 10 or 12 events have the split field and have the live event? Why could you not have joined those together? It's just smart. I mean, it's just
money not doing it.
Pride got in the way. The PGA Tour thought they were a little too big, and they let their pride and their ego get in the way, and their ego is going to take them down, and it's going to mess up golf for everybody.
It's going to mess up golf for everybody. Wow, well said. Wow.
So, I mean, everybody could have got a lot of your marquee guys and people in the front office could have made a lot of money on this, and they could have done good with that money. Instead, they let ego get in the way.
Ego's a killer.
It's pretty simple. I mean,
ego is a killer. Man.
Yeah, but such is life. We live and learn.
You have a question?
I don't remember what I was going to ask just now.
Something about killing golf or something like that.
Oh, so with the whole golf, the ball rollback, right? What are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I honestly, I don't even understand it yet. I mean, somebody was talking about.
Neither does the fan base, Brian.
I don't think we understand it either.
Yeah, what is happening? All right.
There were guys said he practiced with it and went out and he felt like he hit 5 drives really good and none of them went further than 260. And I'm like, no, you're lying. And there's no, I mean, that's taking 40 yards, 50 yards off the ball. They're not doing that. Even balls in the 90s went further than that, and they're not even rolling it back that far. Yeah. So I don't even get where you're coming up with that number of 245 with your driver. It doesn't even, it just doesn't compute to me how that's possible.
Yeah. I think they're saying something like 5 yards or something like that.
Yeah, it's only going to be, it's supposed to be like, I would assume it'd probably be like 5 to 10 yards.
Yeah.
Now, I'll be honest with you. I don't like the big headed drivers. I don't like the lively ball. I wish they would go back to a Bellata type ball, not quite a Bellata. Whereas, you get penalized for missing a miss hit. Nowadays a miss hit 5 yards, 10 yards if you hit it somewhere near the middle of the club face. Yeah. And because the way these balls are designed now, they go so much straighter. I don't know if you guys ever played with Bellata balls, but if you ever hit one of those and you hit it on the toe, it went nowhere. I mean, nowhere. Like if you were hitting it 150 and you hit it on a toe, the ball went like 115. So it placed an emphasis on ball striking. I think golf's gotten away from rewarding guys who are ball strikers. I can remember there was a time when advantage was an enormous thing for me. I'd play against guys and I'd hit a drive and I'd be 20 behind because I deserved to be 20 behind. But now with the way the ball is, and you have low spin balls and high launch drivers and high launch, low spin drivers and all this combination stuff, you got a guy that used to hit it 260 and now hits it, 290 because of technology. And I don't know if that's good for the game because I don't think it rewards the best player. It was funny. I had a conversation with Patty Harrington, and we were talking about how he just has adopted this. I'm just hitting it as hard as I can. I don't care where it goes mentality.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm like, why? And he's like, my emphasis is getting as close to the green as possible. I don't care if it's in the rough. I don't care if it's in a bunker. I don't care where. I want to hit it as far as I can to be as close to the green. Okay. But that's not rewarding the guy who hits 13 fairways right down the middle and Patty who hits 6. But because Patty hits it longer and these balls go further, now, who has the advantage? It might be Harrington. I think it's a very fine line. I like golf where there's an emphasis on hitting the fairway and hitting the green, no matter your distance from the rollback of the ball. I find to be so. It's I don't understand it, but it's dumb. I mean, but it's dumb. You want to make golf harder. You tighten fairways and you grow rough.
That's it. And you make them longer. You make the course harder, right?
It's a very simple equation. You can roll back the ball as much as you want. You can make it. You can make the ball go as far as you want. If you tighten up the fairways by 5 or 10 yards and you grow the rough by 3 or 4 inches, the guys who hit it far are going to stop hitting it far because they're going to have to hit fairways. It's as simple as that.
Simple as that. So
I mean, that's what you got to do.
Question for you, right? So I was reading something a while back, and it was talking about you had a few course records. Do you still hold any course records?
I have a few. I don't know how many. I mean, I think the only ones I really care about are my home course here in Arizona at Kierland. I mean, I have there's 3 9s, so there's 3 different kind of rotations. So basically 3 courses you can play. And I have them all there. And I think those are the ones those are the ones I really only care about.
Okay.
That's awesome.
That's great. I'm never going to have a course record, so it's very interesting to me. Well,
You have one. The other, you never know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Bogey's in around to set the course record.
We've got a buddy on another buddy on the podcast who probably holds a couple of them himself. So.
Yeah, I mean, I used to have like 8 or 10. And I don't even know. I know one got broken in Delaware at a club I practice at when I go visit my family. That somebody beat me by 1 there. But I don't honestly, I think I still have the one at my old course in Pittsburgh. And I know I have the 3 here at my course here. I used to have one back east at another club, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really care. I mean, I do care about the ones here because, I mean, these ones, I mean, nobody's played 4 rounds of golf on my home course than me.
I see that.
And it's weird. The day I shot the 61, a buddy said, "Hey, I was practicing. Said, "Hey, you want to come out and play?" I'm like, "I only got time for 9 holes." And I played and I shot 30. And he's like, "You got to stay, dude. You got to stay." I stayed and I shot 31 on the other 9. Yeah. And I had it before that. And I actually had it before that at 62. So it was cool that I got 1 more under it.
Oh, God. You moved to Arizona and just took over.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So.
All right, that can bring us into our next piece here. So, as a professional, how do you prepare for a tournament? What does that look like on the professional level, preparation?
Aaron, I feel like, I'm going to adopt this kind of this year because I think the more I practice, the worse I play. I mean, honestly, honestly, it's true. I mean, I played going back to last year, going to first stage of Q school. I played, counting the senior tournament that I finished 5th in, I played 6 rounds of golf. I showed up at Q school with 6 rounds of golf in me for that year.
Holy crap.
And I'm learning that I play better with less practice. So this year, I'm going to adopt that. If I'm not playing it, whatever my pro-am is, that's the only time I'm going to play. Like, I'm not going going to play a practice round on Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm going to play my pro-am. If it's Thursday, great. I'll play Thursday. The other day, I may take a cart and drive around and look at it. Doesn't mean I'm not going to hit balls. I'll chip and putt or something. I'm literally going to try to spend like an hour and a half at the course on non-playing days. And it would be just probably putting and chipping. I probably wouldn't even hit balls. It'd probably be just putting and chipping. And then I'll play my pro-am and I'll show up on the tee on Friday and go. I feel like I'll play better that way.
Yeah.
I hate practice.
I was expecting more like just grind, but I like that.
Yeah.
Just kind of,
And what's is that I feel like I think the practice wears you down. And you already have a long week. You're already traveling. And I think it takes a toll that you don't feel on yourself. I really do. I think there's a little thing in there where that extra practice round or that extra pro-am round, it takes a little bit out of you that you don't feel until late Saturday on the back nine. You're like, holy shit, I still got 27 holes to play. It's not, so it's just a tough thing to kind of work through. So, but I felt like, I just play better when I don't. Like my clubs are in the back over there. I haven't touched them I won't touch them for a while. I have zero desire to go hit a golf ball right now. Zero.
Also, the qualifying event was last week, right? How'd that go for you?
It was okay. I didn't play great. I didn't play bad. I felt like I was tired. But I also felt like I was a little checked out. I am, to be perfectly honest, questioning my desire to play. I know regardless of anything, this is definitely going to be my last year for full-time golf. I won't play past this year. I felt very neglectful of my family last year. I spent half the year on the road, and I have a 10-year-old, and I don't like feeling like an absentee father or husband. And I was last year, and I like golf, but I don't love golf. Yeah, I'm honest about it. I like it. I do. I like it. It's great, but I don't love it, and I will not let it rule my life. And I think last year it ruled my life, and deservedly so. It was an opportunity I had to take advantage of and soak it all in. But now that I've been out there and I've seen it, it's great. But, I don't know if I don't want golf to be how I'm remembered, so to speak. I would much rather and feel a lot better being recognized as a good father, a good husband, and someone who cared about others, especially after struggling with mental health issues, that wanted to help other people. I could care less about the golf. It's just a game, man. I've played sports my whole life. I'm 57 years old. I've played enough sports to, for some people's 2 or 3 lifetimes. I don't need the game. I don't. But it's still fun to play. And there's a lot of relationships and friendships out there you make that are important and cool. But that's where I'm at in my career. I know that this is my last year regardless. And honestly, I didn't know how I felt about that. And then I came home when the year was over, and I asked my son. I said, your dad's been gone a lot this year. He'll probably be gone a lot next year. Do you want me to play anymore, or do you want me to quit? And he looked at me and he says, "You can play one more year." But the way he said it told me he wasn't real cool with me even one more year.
Yeah.
And that kind of hit home in a way that I'm like, okay, you missed some stuff. He knows you missed some stuff. He didn't like you missing some stuff. So you need to make some adjustments. And I'm happy to do that for him because he's my world. So and it wouldn't bother me one bit, man. I'll go drive a garbage truck. I don't give a shit. I ain't that proud. I don't need this game. But I'll decide that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. What? I mean, I'm going to play this year. I won't play as much this year. I did make that commitment to him that I will not play that much. I would like to play, I don't know, 10, 12 events. And just that's it. I don't need 23 events, man. That's a lot of time on the road, man. It's almost half the year. I mean, that's just not, for me, it's not cool. I mean, some of those guys, I mean, they're okay with it. I don't know how they did it when they had families, when they were younger. But I couldn't do the amount of golf I played this year. I couldn't do it for 2 or 3 more years. No way. I'd lose my sanity. I'd lose my family. I would lose the connection I have with my son, and there's no way I'm allowed that to happen.
Does he golf?
No, man, he's a hockey player, man.
I mean, don't we all? I was a hockey player.
You were a hockey player.
You were a hockey player.
Like, he's like all in on the hockey, man. I mean, like he plays other sports. He plays lacrosse. He plays basketball. Plays for flag. But no, he's like all in on hockey, like all in. Like he got picked up by CCM a couple weeks ago. He's going to play. He's going to play their Chi-Town Shuffle in April. He's coming up your way in May to play the Blue Chips Invite. It's in Mass. And then he's going to go to Slovenia to play the Euro Cup for CCM.
Wow. Are you going to be there? You're going to be there, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm going all 3. Yeah. I'll probably be, like, my wife may take him to Chicago. I'm definitely bringing him to Massachusetts, and we're all going to Slovenia. Yeah.
Oh. Where is Slovenia? I don't even heard of it.
Great. It's by Croatia, across the water, across the ocean from Italy. Yeah, that's good. That's going to be pretty epic. That's going to be sick.
That's great.
So your son isn't just into hockey. He is very, very good at hockey.
He's good. Yeah, he's really good.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
I got to take him to Vegas Friday because he has a tournament. His league team here has a tournament over there this weekend, so we got to go over there Friday, and then they're off, and then he doesn't know it yet, but we're taking him to the Winter Classic in Seattle.
Oh, as a hockey fan, you're such an awesome dad.
Don't let him see it. Don't let him.
It's a double trip because it's a double trip. As we're Steelers fans, of course. So the Steelers play Seattle the day before, and then the Winter Classic's the next day. So it's a great trip for him. And then he comes back, and then we switched him out of school. He's going to start this hockey academy here in Scottsdale as soon as we get back. Where now we'll go to school half the day, and it'll be hockey the other half of the day.
Oh my God!
Talk about the best
That's
day ever.
the greatest schedule for a 10-year-old.
He'll get drafted.
That's awesome.
Because he's going to private school now, and he has to wear a uniform, and he has to go to church every Wednesday, and now he gets to wear shorts and sweatpants, and he goes to class for an hour, then he goes to film, then he goes to work out, then he goes on the ice, and he comes back and does a little schoolwork. Yeah, he's in heaven. He doesn't have to even go to school. Like tournaments in April, that tournament, well, he has to go to a camp in Notre Dame in April. And like he has to leave like on a Thursday, so like he just does his homework on the plane. So like he's like pumped for it. So hopefully it'll work out. I mean, we said we were going to test it and see how he does. Give him a chance to grow up, learn some responsibility, and see how he can do it, and get more ice time. I mean, this will have him on the ice probably. Shit, counting his team, he'll probably be on the ice 8-9 times a week.
Wow! Oh my God! A couple times a day. That's insanity.
That's insanity. Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
That's cool that he's that passionate, like so young that he's that passionate
He's got
about
no
one
discipline
particular.
too.
It was his choice.
Reflection of you, though, Brian.
Yeah, it was his choice. We talked to him about it last year about going, and technically they last year said he couldn't go till sixth grade, and so they had a thing open house this year, and then we went and talked, and they were like, "Well, who's your son? Where's he play?" And we told him, and they were like, "Okay, well, let us do a little bit of research." And they came back and they're like, "Well, we'll let Ashton come in early if he wants. He can do second semester. He'll be the youngest one there, but he's already gone up and done like they have shadow days, and he's already gone up and done like 2 shadow days with him and skated, and the coaches were like, yeah, he's totally, he's totally fine. He's better than some of the kids that are older than him being here, which I expected him to be, not in a cocky way, but I mean, I know he's a good player, and I know some of the sixth graders that are there, and I know he's better than them anyway. So for them to allow him in early was pretty cool. So he'll get a chance that he can try it out for a semester, and if he doesn't like it, he can go back to a school right down the street. And if he loves it, which I have a feeling he's going to, then just another incurred cost.
Man, you're gonna be hitting soon too in the next couple of years then.
You know what's funny? You mentioned that I think it's 14 out here, or it might be. Let me see. It's midget out here. I think
Midgets they learn to hit.
I think it's midget. I think I have to. But this tournament in Slovenia is full body.
Oh, we're gonna be running soon then.
Oh, damn.
But he loves hitting. He's a smaller guy, but I mean he knows how and when to do it, and he has no problem with it. And I have no issue being concerned about him getting hit because he doesn't skate with his head down like so many kids now. I mean, all these kids are skating with their head down still, and they're going to learn the hard way. They're going to be skating. They're
on that full. That's what they used to.
Get that helmet off their head skating down with the puck. But he's a good little player, and I mean, obviously I worry about him playing against bigger kids, but this tournament in Slovenia is only 13s, so. But I think he'll be fine. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't shy away from contact. That's for sure.
Nice.
That's very interesting. We look forward to seeing the news on those games in the coming future.
Yeah, I'll be posting it. I mean, I always try my best to keep people up to date on what he's doing. So I'll definitely be posting it for sure.
So if we were ever to find ourselves in your neck of the woods, would you ever be down for like a scramble type thing, our score versus your single score type thing, like just 9 holes maybe?
Something fun to play for sure.
Yeah, we're all 90, 95 golfers. So I mean,
whoa.
Okay.
Well, this kid got an 86 last year.
Scramble, but in the scramble, you guys might be 74. You might catch me on a good day.
That's why I figured that'd be a fair proposition.
That'd be fun.
that would be fun to see how bad we get smoked.
Totally cool. We could do something like that. At the very least, we have to grab some dinner.
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sure. Of course. I definitely don't want to play any one of those 9 holes though with you. I'm saying that right now. Not against you is what I'm saying. I'd love to play with you, but not against you.
Definitely have to play one of those 9s. I mean, if you guys are getting 3 shots, I need to be able to at least be comfortable where I'm at.
You could, like you said, you could play. Make sure you don't play for like 2 months before then. You'll just
I mean, next you'll be saying that I can only use 8 clubs or something. You guys get to pick the 8 clubs.
You said it, not us.
Oh, did you play with Phil Mickelson a couple of times? Is that how you know how to golf that?
I've never played with Phil. When I first got here, my first job was actually at their course, ASU. So I met him a couple times, but I don't really have any kind of connection with Phil at all.
I was wondering because the good golf betting choice you just came up with just now.
Yeah, he likes to gamble quite a bit. But Amy likes to gamble just as much. So.
Well, ever since they legalized FanDuel, I mean, I have nothing against it.
Yeah.
Brian Cooper, thank you so much for coming on. Genuinely appreciate you. I have a large amount of respect. I did not know who you were. I don't think
I didn't know who you were until Russ brought it up, and
We owe this all to Russell.
I started following you and loved
What an
mental health things,
inspiration.
so great. We're happy to have you.
Well, I appreciate you guys taking time to reach out and want to have a chat with me. And I hope people listening, I hope they enjoyed it as well. And yeah, no problem. Anytime, happy to come back on.
Definitely.
Well, we are Bogey Island Podcast here with Brian Cooper, signing off.
And remember,
Always buy your fucking mulligans.
There we go.